Welcome to Invested Souls, the podcast where real estate expertise meets relationship growth.
And we're your hosts, the Flanagans. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jamie. This podcast is your chance to learn from our experiences and follow in our footsteps. Whether you're an entrepreneur, investor, or real estate professional, we've got the insights and strategies to help you elevate your wealth and achieve financial freedom.
But it's not just all about real estate. We believe that thriving in life means nurturing the relationships that matter most.
That's right. We'll be talking about how to balance your personal and professional life so you can create a fulfilling and prosperous future.
So join us on Invested Souls and let's grow together in wealth, relationships, and success.
Ready to elevate your life? Let's get started. Welcome to Invested Souls.
All right, welcome back to Invested Souls. I'm here with Shelby Seeley, real estate guru, but also coach, mentor, and attacks other areas of life in addition to the business. So I'm super excited to dig into it. I feel like this would have been a great double date because we both have spouses in the business, but we'll get it started. We'll warm it up, and who knows, there might be a sequel.
An episode 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for making the time today, coming in from Northern California, and I'm in Arizona, so we're finally in a common time zone.
Yes,
sometimes we're coordinating across the country, so this is awesome.
Yeah, but my weather's probably better than yours.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's toasty over here.
Oh my goodness, I believe it. Yeah.
I think it's a nice, cool 101, 102 today. So
no, we're sitting at about 80-ish.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But you could always come visit.
I'm down. Jamie is a fan of that part of the country too. So I'm probably overdue for getting a trip out.
Yes. Yeah. It's beautiful. So
what's your favorite spot?
We love some of the parts in Southern California. This isn't Southern California though. You can't beat the beaches, I don't think, like in Malibu, those type places, because we have colder beaches here. But Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, I actually was born there. Okay. And so, that's a special place in my heart. And we take our kids every year. And I was literally born in a cabin during a snowstorm in Tahoe. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. So we bring the kids by that cabin every year and we're like, look where mom was born.
I've heard some great things. So I have a nice little network of some short-term rental professionals, a lot of them that do this co-hosting. And there's tremendous opportunity in Tahoe. It seems like the affordability of the actual real estate is there, and the revenue that's generated off them is substantially outpacing what I see as an average in the market.
Yeah, I mean, there are great prices. The hard part with short-term rentals is there's only a very small pocket of location that they allow short-term rentals.
Okay.
So if you want to buy a short-term rental there, definitely do your homework.
Okay.
Yes.
Will do.
Yes,
I love that.
Yeah.
Take me through how real estate found its way into your life.
Yeah, so I would say many years ago, I really had always loved houses, the aspect of houses, going through model homes. My husband and I, we used to buy properties and like fix and flip them. I was in interior design prior to real estate. And so I would work for certain builders and I would be the designer of the model homes. And so that's kind of my intro into real estate. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the inside and the outside aspect of it. I remember when we bought our first home, it was a brand new home. We had no idea what we were doing. We were 21 and 22. Our parents had never owned a home. And so I remember just sitting there. I didn't know what a real estate agent was. I knew nothing. And especially in new builds, right? You just sit down, sign your life away and hope it works out. And they explain nothing to you. So that was kind of the start of my, evolution of real estate journey and just kind of wanting to help people because I felt like I was not helped or assisted in that. And that was the largest purchase we had ever made up until that time. And so it really was from a heart of wanting to help other people understand the process and that it's possible. Like I said, we both came from parents who did not own property at all, never owned a house. We moved, both of us had moved multiple times, and we just wanted a stable place for our family. But then that began, we bought the one house and another, then another, and so on and so on.
Nice, nice. And I love that because one, that's the point of the show, of getting this message out there, is to educate. I started in this business in 2005. So we're into the ramp up of crazy times, and it just never fails that as soon as that volume picks up in the market, the time that we have as service providers becomes so limited, we might forget that we actually do need to stop, slow down, and provide some education to make sure people aren't moving too fast.
Yes.
And then reflecting on it and looking back and saying, okay, well, '08 was a thing. And what was the root cause? And I believe the root cause was just inadequate education, both at the service provider level and the consumer level.
Agreed.
Sure, there's plenty who were bad actors and just did what was in their best interest and not the client's best interest, likely knowingly. But I'm still eternal optimist and believe that for the most part, people are good. It's just we rushed through things and didn't take the time to make a sound, solid decision specifically around finances.
Right.
Um, and then your husband participates in this business in some way, shape, or form as well, correct?
Yes, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. Just being honest for those spouses who work together. You have your good days and your bad days. And so, yes, we own multiple business, real estate business, lending, insurance business all together. And then he has grown a department, our concierge department, who answers the phone immediately when a client calls and puts them together with the agent. And so, when the business is good, it's better. When it's not so good, it can be a little more challenging on the marriage. So,
So true.
yes, yeah,
What I find funny is, there could be personal conflict in just the day to day, and it's one of those days where you maybe choose to not talk as much as you normally would, and then the business side of it like forces you to have the conversations. So
yes,
it's funny how the business can create conflict, but it can also bring you back together despite some conflict. And very interesting dynamic how that works out.
yeah, yeah. And I think I mentioned to this earlier, is that people have this idea that it's like this amazing experience to work with your spouse, and it is to a certain extent, right? We have extra freedom. We can do things together. We kind of have similar schedules. There's just more freedom. We recently traveled to Europe, and so you can't really do that if one spouse has a 9 to 5 and the other just has a more flexible schedule. So there are amazing aspects to it. And then there's aspects, when you bring to bed with you that, that you have to work through and set some boundaries and follow through on the boundaries.
Nothing like good old real estate pillow talk, right?
Right. Exactly. Yes. There's nothing sexy about it.
You mentioned boundaries. Like we love tactics, right? Any feedback, suggestions, requirements, framework around the concept of boundaries, because quite frankly, we look at investing in real estate as a small family business. It's typically going to require the buy-in of both parties if they are married in partnership, um, even if they're not active in the day-to-day operations of it. It's still the family's money. It's their investment strategy. So I think it's very important that we give some of those basic principles. I'd love to hear any recommendations, success stories, validation around boundaries and how to set them and how to keep them.
Yeah, Brad, I think early on we learned that if we're not unified, like, we don't move. If one of us is questioning and we just don't have a piece about moving forward, then we just don't move until we get unified on whatever it is we're doing. And so we apply that just not just in life, but obviously in business and especially in real estate. And there was definitely a time where my husband, he's very optimistic, and I probably tend to be more of the realist, is what I would say. Not pessimistic, the realist. You got to have both, like the optimistic and the realist. And so he tends to be more on the optimistic side. And he saw a great property and he's like, babe, we could totally buy this. And there was just something about it. I was like, yeah, I think it's going to stretch us too much. And this was an investment property that we were going to fix and flip. And he was like, no, really, really, like, let's do it. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm just not feeling it. And he's like, why? And sometimes as women, we just have to go with our intuition. And it's like, I can't tell you why, because I don't have an answer for that, but I just know that it's just not right for our family. And so at that particular incident that we went ahead and we pushed through. And then, he was like, I think we should. And then I just was like, okay, fine, let's do it. And so we ended up purchasing a house. And then sure enough, the market tanked. And then we had to foreclose on that house. And so, yeah, so we learned from lessons, right? Hard lessons like that. We learned like, okay, next time that happens, no matter what it is, let's pause, stop, sleep on it for however long that we possibly need to sleep on it, and then move forward together in unity. That way, right? Because during that time, I would blame him because he pushed me into making that decision. And so that wasn't healthy for our marriage either. So lesson learned, moving forward, that is kind of our boundaries that we put. And we can't go wrong with that.
Not at all. No. And we like to actually challenge ourselves to, I would say, avoid that sense of urgency that tends to come around when fear of loss becomes a factor. The market's going fast. This looks like a beautiful, sweet, easy slam dunk, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I need to rush through my decision because I'm going to lose it if I don't. And I'm like, let's test that. Let's see really if it's truly meant to be, it's not going to move. I won't lose it. And you can't lose something you don't have. So
Love that.
really, really like that because it's something where sometimes, whether it's primary residence or personal home of some kind or an investment, people are like emotionally attached to it before they even have it.
Very true.
And
Yes.
that emotion probably isn't one of the best factors to consider in your negotiation process.
Very true. Very true. Yes. Though we don't realize that, I think, in the midst of that, right? Which that's why it's important to have and hire a real estate agent who has your best interest, because they're above it. They're third party. They have no emotional attachment to the house. They haven't decorated it already. They haven't imagined Christmases or Thanksgiving in this house, right? So they have no emotional attachment, and they're just really looking out for your best interest. So that's why I think a realtor, a lender is important to have on your side.
Absolutely. How about, I'm big on this whole practice what you preach comment. Can you share what you feel is the difference between just the standard agent who is a good service provider and then an agent who is in the business actively?
Yeah, I would say it's not a transaction, right? I think there are some agents who look at it as a transaction, like sometimes a car salesperson, right? Who looks at it and like, okay, this is a commission, this is a paycheck, this is how I'm going to pay my rent or my mortgage. And so you have to see the people, and you have to kind of get in their shoes and help them, right? So, I mean, I help people who buy $100,000 homes, and then people who buy $10 million homes. And to me, they're the same people. I just want to help families, right? And we always believe in the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto you. And so we really, go into that with that. Like, what would I want done for me? And so that's how I apply it into, my real estate career. And it's helped because, right, people will work with people they know and trust. And trust is a huge factor in real estate. A lot of emotions, biggest investment they'll ever make. So they really need to trust you that you have their best interest. And so that's one of the ways is just live the golden rule out. I think you can't go wrong there.
Nice. Well, and I feel like you get more actual insight. It's not speculation when you've done the transactions yourself. And
Yes.
then we're human on the service providing side. Again, we're human too, so we do have emotion. But if you've been there and done that and maybe seen at least some version of it before, it's hard to get excited
Yeah.
or let it drag you down. And unfortunately, I'm big on like emotion.
Yeah.
There's a book called Power versus Force.
Okay.
Familiar with that one? And it just kind of talks about the frequency of, positive emotions, negative emotions, and the difference between like forcing something and using your power. And really, I believe we're more resourceful when we stay in like those positive emotions or those neutral emotions instead of like where we're making decisions and trying to strategize under high stress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Completely agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to read
Any
that book.
It's a great one. I highly recommend it. What's your favorite book? What's your go-to books on the shelf?
Oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good book. My kids read it. My daughter just loves it, and she's 20. And so
Nice.
she right now is saving for a down payment, and she doesn't want to buy her first house. She wants to buy an investment property first. So she'd like to buy a duplex and then rent those out. And so I appreciate that, like the knowledge that people share in books like that I can take it and then share it with my kids. And I have so many different books. The Gap or the Game. I don't know if you've read
Ooh,
that one. That's a really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's about mindset. And and my family has read a lot of these books too, so I'll be like, are you in the gain mindset, are you in the gap mindset, right when they start to be negative? There's a book called Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and I
Wow.
highly recommend that one. And I went through a season of kind of burnout in my life, and so that one really helped me kind of stop and put priorities into place. And just like, wow, we just don't realize it, but we're just hurrying here and hurrying there, and for what? And so definitely some of my top three.
Love that.
Yeah.
Curious with your daughter wanting to buy her first property as an investment property, would she stay at home? Is that
So right now I have two adult kids. I have a 23-year-old son who's a teacher in junior high, and then my daughter's 20, and she happens to be traveling. She's in Greece right now, living her
oh my
best life. Yeah.
God, nice.
And so they both have an account that they've put together, and it is for down payment. And so my son's saving to buy his first home, and then my daughter's saving for that investment property. Now, when we get there, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, whether or not when she buys that investment property, if she'll move out, and that's kind of her plans, to move out and then live off the rental income. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I figure mom and dad's in real estate. Like, it's just ingrained in them. My kids used to sit in the car when they were, 10 and 12 while I showed properties. And so I'd pick them up from school. I'm like, sorry, guys, you got to sit in the car. I got to show a property. And they would sit in the car and they're like, oh my gosh, I hope it's people who are quick through the house. Because you never know when it's your first time. Is it going to be 15 minutes through the house, or is it going to be 2 hours?
Right.
They've had the plethora of both.
Oh my gosh.
So they
It's good to
grew up.
know there's others out there that do that.
Exactly. Yes. And and then you bribe them. You're like, okay, guys, I'm gonna get you ice cream after, and it makes everything better.
Yep.
But I also think it helps to show your kids what hard work looks like. Mom and dad this didn't just happen. This house, these cars, these investments, whatever it is, like, it took hard work, and you guys saw the progress of that hard work, and you were a part of it, because it really is, like you mentioned earlier, Brad, a family thing. And so real
Mhm.
estate should be a family thing where everyone's involved. I tell them now, because they're both at home, now's the greatest time to save as much money as you can, because it's going to be now that you have the least amount of responsibilities ever moving forward in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
I only asked too because I just shared recently. I think right now it's one of the greatest times for that house hacking philosophy where, especially if you have multifamilies in your marketplace where you buy it as an owner occupant, right? So instead of saving for the 20% down that'd be required for a multifamily as an investment property, you can buy it as a primary, live in one of the
Yeah.
2 to 4 units, and hopefully the majority of obligation for that unit is covered.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you vacate it in a year or two after putting some sweat equity into it and be the beneficiary of the appreciation. And I guess it's always nice to have the lower down payments. So
Yes, very true.
love
I love
that stuff.
that. I love that. Yes. And then you as, an expert in lending, yeah, I appreciate that knowledge because that makes, a lot of sense. You have to get creative, I'm sure, many times.
Definitely. And really it's a little bit more about committing to, like, we call it excellence in our organization. It's
Yeah.
the number one core value. And that just means you are committed to quality. You go and read and study and learn more to become the most excellent version, to
Yeah.
be the service provider worthy of somebody's trust. Because if anything that this market has taught us, it's resilience, and to be more than just the person who opens the door or takes the application. Like, how do we customize a solution, and is how I call it, for the person on the other end, because I'm doing this every day. They're doing it once every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So to deserve the insight that we've gained for serving other people.
Yeah. And it's going to look different, right? For every family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone has
Risk
different needs.
tolerance, goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to
Very.
be very adaptable. Yeah. And you can, one thing I have learned in real estate is you can't take rejection. Because if you are worried about rejection, like it can be very challenging in your real estate career. And so I think for the first 3 years, I would take when people wouldn't call me back as like rejection and like, oh, they don't want to talk to me. And I would take it personal, right? Which then now a week later, I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't like me. And then they call back and they're like, oh, sorry, we were super busy. And then I wasted all that time. Yeah.
So true. Can't, like, I love when I pick up the phone with some hesitation and I'm like, "Ah, I'm gonna be bugging them." And you're thinking that in the back of the mind, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thanks for calling me. I've been meaning to call you all week and you reached out." And so it's getting over a lot of
Yeah.
the times, especially the newer people in the industry, is the ego is dangerous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What did you say in our earlier conversation, about marriage and being alone or something like that? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Somebody had said something like, "The mind is a dangerous place. Don't go in there alone." There's a lot of,
Yes.
it's finding a mentor, getting some support, reaching out, networking, and being in the community. And so
Absolutely.
you as a coach, a mentor, having a kind of a balance between this personal and the professional life, like, what's your recommendation or the must do or haves for somebody who either is looking to get into real estate, get into the service side of it, or become an investor?
Yeah, I would say I tell first time home buyers this, I feel like every day, all day. Like if in regards to getting into real estate itself and buying a house or buying your first investment property is you got to get in the game. You got to kind of stop thinking about it, wishing about it, even like sometimes planning for it. And you just got to take the step because it is faith and it is scary 100%. And you just got to get into the game. And if you don't get into the game, you're going to look back 10 years later and wish that you were like, oh man, I wish I bought that house when it was $100,000. And now look, it's $1 million. Right. And so if you see top investors who make millions of dollars, it's because they got in the game early on and then they just built their portfolio from there. And so I would say even like as a real estate agent too. And so I've coached hundreds of real estate agents and I love just kind of sharing my journey, my story, as unperfect as it is. But I just tell them like, if you have this passion to help people And a lot of them have a story based in real estate, right? Whether it was a foreclosure or my parents never bought a house, or they just kind of have this ingrained passion about housing. Really look into that. Take a deep dive and see where you might fit in the real estate aspect. And so, but I'd say the same thing. You got to get in. You got to take the step
Mhm.
of faith. You got to get the books. You got to start the classes. And just like anything in life that's worth doing, is you just got to take the leap. Take the leap of faith. Jump in the deep end, and hopefully you have a team of people there that can help swim and get you and guide you through the whole process.
Beautiful. No, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
There, we just talk about don't chase perfection and take action, right?
Yes. Yes. Action is where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our life is made up of just a series of decisions. And so stop thinking about it, stop, wishing about it, but actually take the action and just do it. One little step. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm going to sign up and get books. Okay, I'm going to reach out to a brokerage. Just one little step. And it will change your life, some of those steps, right? Brad, I
Oh
bet
my
if you looked back and you were like, oh my God, I was so nervous. I didn't know what I was doing when I got into real estate and lending. And it was scary. But now, in hindsight, I'm sure you were like, wow, one of the best decisions I'm sure that you made, besides obviously marrying your wife, Jamie.
The growth. I was just on a call where Price Pritchard was on there. He's the author of a book called U Squared and some other stuff. Does a lot of integration consulting around big mergers and acquisitions. And his quote verbatim was, "The growth happens in the discomfort zone." And so
Absolutely.
it's always decisions that I was quite frankly probably not ready for. I didn't know what I was doing. It's
Yeah.
the decisions that people are making that are based on a habit and a pattern of repeated decisions. So they're kind of living in the past and
Yeah.
they're just repeating it over and over again because they have trained themselves or programmed themselves to make these same decisions based on the same principles over and over again. When in reality, when we make that decision to do the thing for the first time, we learn a whole new set of skills. We create a whole new set of experiences that
Yeah.
help us make better decisions moving forward.
Yeah.
So,
I know as humans, we like to stay comfortable, right? We're just kind of wired that way for safety, for being comfortable. And so doing something new is scary. And so that's why a lot of times people will stay in a job they hate for 20 years. They'll live a life that they hate for their whole life, right? Because it's just comfortable. It's just what they know. Just like when you said that it's basically habits, right? But it's outside of that comfort zone when you get uncomfortable. That's when your whole life changes. I mean, think about when you became a parent. You didn't know what in the world you were doing. You just had a kid and you prepared as much as you could, but one of the best things you did, or get married. You don't know how to be a spouse until you actually do it. And so, what do they say? Like success or your future is right outside your comfort zone. And so, yeah, I always ask my kids, we sit down at dinner and, when we're all together and I'll say, hey, what have you done this week or this today that has made you uncomfortable? And so they're in the habit of looking for places to make themselves uncomfortable. And then I'll say,
right.
okay, what's one thing you want to do that you think right now is super uncomfortable, but you're going to do it anyways? And then they'll tell me that. And then we talk about it and hold each other accountable to it. And that's where we see true growth and true change happens.
So true.
Yeah.
Different perspectives. So, where are you found the most? Social platform, or where can people find more information about Shelby?
Yeah, so they can go to Facebook, they can go to Instagram, just my name, Shelby Seeley. They'll find me, and that's probably where I am the most. We do have a podcast called Redesign Your Marriage. You can go to redesignyourmarriage.com, and that's for couples who really just want to strengthen their marriage and make it better. And so
Mm,
my husband and I have been married for 27 years. And so we feel like, hey, we're not done. It doesn't have to be like this is the rest of our life. Like we can actually do something to make it better. So they can find me there and then just my website,
beautiful.
shelbyseeley.com. Yeah.
We will drop all the links and put everything in the description. I greatly appreciate your insights. And if you get the chance to reach out to Shelby, ask her about her analogy for the relationship and the design of a home, because I certainly enjoyed learning about that. It was awesome. I appreciate your time today. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I would probably just echo what I've said earlier is just get outside your comfort zone. There's something that's in your heart, in your mind, and maybe it's been there for a long time. Just do it, right? Just like Nike says, just do it. Just take that one simple step. You don't have to have the whole plan. You don't got to figure out the next 10 years and what that's going to look like. It's in the one step, though, that you will then create your destiny and your legacy.
Beautifully said. I appreciate your time. And for anyone who was able to tune in, we greatly appreciate you spending the time with us, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Invested Souls.
We hope you found our insights valuable and feel inspired to elevate your real estate and relationship goals.
If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us.
Follow us on social media for more tips and updates, or visit bradandjamieflanagan.com. And to find out more about our Real Estate Wealth Accelerator, don't hesitate to reach out.
Until next time, keep investing in your future and nurturing your relationships.
Thanks for listening to Invested Souls.